Hello folks, I'm just looking at the brake lights on a 2017 Vauxhall Astra. Intermittently on the dash comes up a brake warning to test, to look at the bulb. I've changed the bulb and it still comes on intermittently, and intermittently the light works, so it's probably a loose earth, a loose connection of some sort. Just going to look at what it was. I already stripped it all down. That's the light fitting. It's really easy to take out. You just unscrew the plastic knob, or whatever you want to call it, off the back of the inside of the light. The light fitting pops out. You just bend the little clips backwards a little bit and it will pop out. First thing to do is, once you've got it out, is to check, unplug the wire and check that all the pins inside aren't corroded and that they're not damaged in any way, green or white powdery. And then I just used a pair of long nose pliers and gently touched them, if you like, to make sure that they weren't loose or broken in any way. Then I plugged it back in, plugged the plug back in, and just moved the plug around with the ignition not on. And I've got I've got some socket extensions against the seat just to hold the brake brake on, so the brake light will show. Otherwise you don't get a live feed unless the brake's down, because it's got to turn the switch off for the brake. In here, in the plug, you've got these little connectors. Now these little connectors, they can work themselves loose, but to check that it isn't a break in the wire there, what I did was place this screwdriver tester into, let's just pause it. Right, I've just turned on the ignition so that the actual brake light's on. As you can see, that one is on. Plug the tester in to the screwdriver into the tester. I've got to do this one-handed, sorry. You can see it's live. Yeah, you can see it's live with an earth off the body and not off of the setup. And then literally wiggle those wires by my little finger there around and see if that light goes off. If the light goes off, you've probably got a break in the wire somewhere, and you can buy a kit, I think, on eBay. It's pretty cheap, with a new plug that you can connect on. If it isn't, then it's probably just the pins need squashing back together, which is quite simple to do, and it will save you some money. So make sure before you do anything else you turn the power back off, because you'll always blow a fuse otherwise. Turn the ignition off, take the key out. In there you'll see that little white bit there. So you get a screwdriver, a small screwdriver, put it in and lever this up like that, so you can see it's popped up. And then just get a pair of long nose pliers, I'm just going to pause and show you afterwards. Get a pair of long nose pliers and just gently hold it and pull it, and you'll pull it out, and there you can see all your pins. Now anyone that's going to try and do this has probably got a bit of car savvy. Those pins, they work their way loose after a little while. They're spring loaded inside in the middle. They don't disconnect out of the plug. Push them forward so they pop out like this, and then you can squash them back into place a little bit so that they've got a tight grip on the pin when they go back in, and put it all back together. And you'll probably find that your connection that was weak, remembering that that pin, so if you can see the diameter of the hole, it has to grip onto that, which is not very thick. So you want to try and squash that inside there, so I can get it to fit. And it's the inside of it that does it, so there's a little slot in the top. You need to get that to go down a bit. I'll put it back together and I'm pretty sure you'll find it works. Once I've done this one, I'll carry on with this video and just show that it does. Right, as you can see, squash the pins, put the pin back together, not worth showing the reverse. It's quite easy to put back together. You just, if you do squash them too much, you might have to squash them together. Now the cable's in there. Move the wires around. The bulb isn't going on and off because the break isn't between the pin. It's the commonest fault between the pins and the plug. People often think it's the wire, but most of the time it's just the pins have worked their way loose. Maybe changed the bulbs a few times. You can see the brake lights are on. I've turned the ignition back on, and that's why it's on, and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't go off. It really is just the pins in the plug, and it was that straightforward to do. Save yourself some money, don't waste your money for a little bit of effort. I mean, this plug itself on this car is actually broken, but that doesn't make a massive amount of difference to it. It's the pins that are inside there that were on the opposite side of the plug. So save yourself some money.